Hello everybody and welcome back to another WorldBox video. Today we are doing a battle for the entire solar system. And before we get started, I would like to thank Melon, who did a video with 4 planets and largely inspired this video. Great WorldBox content creator. And then I'd also like to thank the maker of this map, Gata, I want to say. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but there's the @ right there at the bottom left of the map. Really good map over here. And before we get started, we're going to make this a little bit better for our warring needs, because we don't want these guys to take forever to kill each other. We want them to kill each other quickly, that way it's interesting. And these little paths don't let any people go through. That's only a couple people that can go through at once. We don't want that. We want big warring parties. So we're gonna do giant dirt paths over to each area, and that's going to make it so that they can attack each other. And that is the goal. We're gonna do one over to here and over here. And then also, we don't just want people from Earth to be fighting in this. We want aliens. Everyone wants aliens. Why wouldn't you want aliens? So we're going to have aliens. Okay, and a couple of these little moons and stuff I'm just going to leave out of it. Some of them I've connected, the bigger ones. And let's go ahead and add some aliens. And I think for them, we'll make each of them a different race. So over here on Mars, I guess, we will go ahead and add some orcs. We do need to give them a little bit of grass. That way some trees grow and such, and they can actually build things. I want them to be able to progress. And then let's go up here. I think Jupiter's a good spot to have dwarves. They'll probably like all the minerals. Okay, great. We'll do the same for them, where we give them a little bit of grass and a couple trees, just because we want them to progress. And then we'll go over here once again, and we will spawn in the elves. Doesn't look like they like making nations over here. Okay, let's get this moving. I've gone ahead and turned on all the world laws as well. Things like eternal lava we need on this time. Random seeds, they can actually get some grass and such. Mobs spawning. They are affected by hunger and old age, and they can fight. So starting right off here, the United States is colonizing this little path I have built for them so mercifully. And Indonesia is doing the same. So they're going to have quite an easy time compared to what you would normally think they would have. And it looks like they are connected to the mainland on this map. And keep in mind, this is supposed to be an incredibly futuristic map. We have one over here, Inamarium, European Union, African Union. So this is supposed to be a future civilization. And then we have over here, who are these guys? The Middle East Federation is going over and taking over the moon. That's gonna spawn some conspiracy theories. And the Martians are expanding, and the Jupitians are expanding. Wow, that is hard to pronounce. And they've got some adamantite over here and stuff. So they might be able to grow really quickly later. And the nice side of this is because they are different species of humanoids, they'll be really likely to attack each other. These guys will also attack each other and probably consolidate, but you can't take over another nation of another type of humanoids. They have to eliminate them entirely to win. And the humans did start off with the most population by far, but as far as land goes, they have the least inhabitable land, so they're pushing out really quickly. That does not mean the humans are at a disadvantage. If anything, they're at an advantage, but they're gonna have to do a lot of warring amongst themselves before they can go after these guys. Oh, and who are these guys? It looks like a couple humans are trying to inhabit Mars over here. They're going through one of the little paths. Oh, maybe not even Mars. Maybe they're trying to inhabit Mercury down here because there's so many ores, or maybe even the sun? The sun is filled with lava though. Don't try and inhabit over there. Okay, they're going after Mercury. And who is this? The African Union is going after Mercury. So yeah, the humans are expanding really quickly and really far. If these other guys want a chance to win, they're going to have to get their populations up fast. And I think they might have a chance too, because these guys are going to infight for a while, or at least that's my theory. Oh, looks like we got our first war brewing. India wants to start a war. The United States wants to start a war. And because they're only touching humans so far, I would assume this war is between humans. Now, if Indonesia wanted to start a war, I would assume someone else. Oh, we gotta slow this down. Who are you guys fighting? India is fighting the Asians. It looks like the United States war never took off. Meanwhile, China is looking to start another war. So this is World War III breaking out, or maybe World War XII at this point. Meanwhile, the Martians are looking to go to war, probably with this little colony down here that completely took over Mercury because they're running out of space. The Asians got taken over by India, and the Jupitians and the Venutians were allied with them, and they do not like that. So this is the thing with all of these wars. they always get really messy because there's so many alliances. And I was correct that the Martians are trying to take out this colony down here, but this causes them many issues. This colony down here is not just a colony. There's many, many more groups to worry about that are now very angry with them that they should have worried about beforehand. However, it is a pretty small colony over here compared to the size of the Martians, and orcs are extremely strong, so I doubt they'll have any problem. And the Venutians look like they're just having issues over here, so I am going to give them a bit of a hand. Let's go ahead and give them some more grass and some more trees and a bit of food because they look like they need a hand. I would like the elves to stay in this because I think it'd make it more interesting. And it looks like the orcs have completely taken out this colony over here, but meanwhile in the north, they're sending over a couple of troops, and their troops have a silver bow. That's pretty good. If these guys don't have bows, they're definitely going to mess them up in these little hallways, because what are they supposed to do? Push all their troops down a little tunnel like this where they get shot over the walls? Good luck with that. Oh, they made it over to the bowmen though, but they're not doing particularly well even with the amount of troops they have. Okay, it looks like they are getting over, and there is a giant among the orcs here, or the Martians, I guess we could call them, and they're going to take these guys out and steal their bows, and then we're going to have a bad time. Looks like Indonesia is going against Russia. The Jupitians are doing pretty well on growing in size, and the Venutians look like they're starting to catch up now that they have some more trees and such, but they're already boxed in. They don't have much in terms of where they can go to expand. Australia also wants to start a war, so China wants to take out Russia. Although Russia has all of this land, they still just aren't very strong, and I think that's because so much of this is just all dirt. They could still farm on it and stuff, but dirt is just not the best. Let's speed this up for a bit because there doesn't seem to be all that much happening. And honestly, as much as the humans started off really strong, I think I'm betting on the Martians on this one because orcs really push to expand very quickly, and they are very militant. Oh, the Venutians up here went ahead and colonized this moon of, I believe this is Neptune. Oh, and they're fighting down here on the mainland of Earth, and Earth is just very, very populated for comparison with these other places. The Martians would like to go back to war despite touching no one right now. We'll see if they'll be intelligent about this or not. It looks like Indonesia is taking over this colony over here. I believe that was India's. So they're trying to take out India right now, and India wants to take out China, so that must mean Indonesia and China are allied up. The Middle East Federation wants to start a war, and the humans just can't stop fighting each other all the time. Meanwhile, the Indonesians, while they're fighting other humans, also have to fight the Jupitians, and so they're not having a fun time because they're fighting a war on two fronts. They do have some troops, they're just not doing that hot though. And I think these are troops from Russia that don't particularly like them in here or something, because these look like human troops attacking them. Actually, I believe they're from the Venutians. So the Venutians and the Jupitians have allied up. Martians are also attacking Indonesia, so all three of the other planets' races want Indonesia gone, and Indonesia was pushing really fast out into these other planets. They just don't like getting colonized. The United States is also pushing hard out into these other planets, but not really into their territory, so they don't care. And it looks like the Indians, which are actually out here in space at this point, this is all the land they have left, are starving constantly. They just don't have enough farms, they don't have enough water, and they're having a very bad time. And it looks like most of their soldiers are gone, but they don't seem like they're majorly under attack right now, so they're not having that hard a time. Because Indonesia was the one pushing them back, and Indonesia is getting attacked on like 1,000 fronts right now. The humans have really consolidated. There are much fewer countries now that they are exposed to the rest of the solar system, and they've really come together, although after quite a few wars. And now the United States and China are looking to consolidate in the bloodiest of ways possible. Let's slow this down real quick. It looks like the United States is winning this one, and China was actively fighting before, so they're not having a very good time. And this is the Chinese leader right here. He has leather, and he's crippled and one-eyed, but he is a veteran, and he has some bloodlust. That's probably why this war started in the first place. But it looks like the United States is winning, so maybe the United States will consolidate with China, as they can do that. They're both humans, and they'll go ahead and keep moving forward. Who is this purple nation taking over there? India is taking over, so it looks like India actually started this war, and United States is just an ally there. So United States is doing all the work, and they are getting none of the land for doing this. Or maybe they'll get this portion over here, who knows? Okay, they're splitting it up a bit. And the Middle East Federation seems to be the strongest group among the United States, and this is because they've taken over this planet over here. Honestly, I'm not even certain which one this is. And some groups of humans have been pushed out to the really far out regions because they've lost their homeland, but they found a moon somewhere that they can base on and they can be perfectly fine on. And look at the Martians over here. They've gone as far as to colonize the sun itself. So far, the humans are still really ahead of everywhere else in terms of total population, but their groups have not pulled that far ahead of each of the other species. Russia wants to start an alliance and India wants to start a war. India is starting a war with, it looks like the United States of all things. How do they figure they're gonna win that one? Well, I guess the United States is getting some extra free territory. Oh, now it makes sense. The Jupitians are also allied up with them. Those two together could do some serious damage to the United States, but the United States might actually be able to take out both of them at once. Looks like the Venutians are against them as well, and the Martians. Okay, so all three of the other races are all against them. And then on top of that, the Middle East Federation, the United States is getting ganged up on here. Do they have any allies? I thought India was pulling some stupid punches in the first place, but it looks like the Middle East Federation might have been pulling the strings behind the line, so they had an excuse to take over the United States territory. And the Jupitians went ahead and claimed these moons back over here. Although, quite frankly, if you want to claim these moons back, you have a problem because this one is completely filled with corruption and this one has non-humanoid entities present. There are much fewer human groups now, but Middle East Federation is really pulling ahead at this point, and it seems that they're allied up with all of the other species for now, and they're just kind of trying to scheme and put all of the humans back together under one umbrella, and then they'll probably try and take them out later. The Jupitians are coming in here with a massive army into the United States, and this army over here is uninvolved, by the way. I believe this is the army of Russia. They are completely uninvolved in this war. They just happen to be sitting around, and you can see the people from the United States run in and try and defend, but it's like 2 people versus 100. And I believe the war has ended, but the Middle East Federation is looking to start its own war now, and I think that's confirming my suspicions that they were behind it all along. Now they're going to go after South Africa, claiming a bit more land, just ever expanding how much land they can take over. And I just checked the world laws and I realized it didn't have grow grass on, so I turned that one on. So some of these planets will turn very grassy in a bit as grass gets transplanted around, and that should allow them to expand further, and it will also cause problems like corruption spreading and things like that that will harm them. So it's not all good for them, but I'd imagine this will be more good than bad. Russia wants to attack the Middle East Federation. Well, actually, it puts the Middle East Federation at war with the Martians, the United States, and the Venutians and the Jupitians. The Middle East Federation is really strong, but I doubt they're stronger than all of those countries combined, and these guys are sick of them being bullies. Obviously, the human races have the most to gain from this right now because they can actually take over this territory versus just sending troops in and losing them guaranteed for no profit. Unless you're thinking of far down the road profit of becoming the one true humanoid race down the line. This solar system isn't big enough for the 4 of us. And the Martians are coming in here. They're attacking some kids in the Middle East Federation, destroying some farms, doing some pretty heavy damage actually, and really hurting the Middle East Federation's resources, where they don't have many troops because, quite frankly, they're fighting a war on all fronts over here. The Middle East Federation did send in some counterattacks, but they're being repelled quite easily. Russia has really grown. It seems Middle East Federation took over some United States land, and then Russia took it back over, and they're like, this is ours now. You can't have it anymore. And the United States is pretty done with this stuff. It really wants to declare peace and be done with this whole problem. Might be a separate war, might be the same war. I'm not certain. Martians doing their trick again. They've already destroyed this entire village over here, but now they're sending in another good 30 troops to make certain nothing gets rebuilt over here. And I believe the war has ended. So as there are no currently ongoing wars, although the Jupitians are destroying the alliance, we're going to speed ahead to try and see some more wars. Okay, everything everything has broken loose. Looks like the Middle East Federation wants to take out Uvedid. Russia wants to take out the Middle East Federation. Jupitians want to attack Venutians, and it does look like they have this little alleyway here, so that way they can go ahead and attack these guys back and forth. It looks like the Jupitians are winning for now, and that's probably because elves are very weak before they get large amounts of bows, and they really don't have any allies in this as far as I can see. And the Martians, is that rebelling? Ah, yes, it is rebelling. Let's go ahead and turn off rebellions real quick, because if we leave rebellions on, then suddenly this is going to last forever. I didn't even realize I had those on. Looks like the Middle East Federation is about to fall, though, to Russia. Russia might be able to take over the whole thing right here now, as they're just fighting too many groups at once. I believe this is a rebellion off the Middle East Federation, so they got screwed there. And Russia is very quickly becoming a world power. The Martians are trying to gain back this land over here from this rebellion, and as I've turned rebellions off now, hopefully we have no more infighting in that way, because that'll just make things take forever. What is this group over here? Maghreb Republic. I believe that's probably another rebellion. And what race are these guys? They look like humans to me, although they might be something else. I'm not 100% certain. The Venutians are almost completely wiped out. They're being harmed very greatly, and there is a massive army within their nation here, but they've trapped them, because what they've done is this whole army is running through the cursed land, and a good amount of them are catching the curse. Now, what happens if you catch the curse is when you die, you turn into a skeleton and you're eternally weakened for your life. And this will be greatly, greatly harmful. Maybe this will hurt them enough that the Venutians can come back, but I doubt it. Maybe that's why the Venutians lost in the first place. The Martians have almost claimed back their colony over here, and the Middle East Federation continues to lose more and more population, although they are just sitting here spamming arrows at the Russians without the Russians fighting back, because apparently the Russians don't want to just go in and get this over with. Look at how many war lines there are all at the same time. And oh no, the Venutians, they're gone. So that is one of our 4 races completely wiped out. It is the elves or the Venutians in this game. And quite frankly, everybody could have seen that coming, because the elves are really underpowered in this game until you get into really, really late game, like a couple thousand years of development, which normally they don't make it to. And the Jupitians are just harming themselves by having this moon over here. They're going ahead and making certain that they get cursed, and they bring skeletons and undead among their people. Meanwhile, Russia is very, very strong and has taken over practically the whole Earth, and the United States is over here on another planet, just chilling. They have about half of it, and Russia has about another half, and they're trying to take over this moon over here. And the United States took over this little rebellion over here, but now they're trying to go to war with Uvedid, and Uvedid is just like completely destroying this area. I think they killed basically everyone over here and just took the houses. And they want to go to war because they were just touching too much over here, and generally nations dislike the ones the most that they are touching in this game. Huge United States army going into Uvedid here. And I want to say the United States is winning, but I'm not certain if I can say that yet, because I don't believe they have all of their troops conglomerated here yet. The United States has really destroyed this army over here, but they need to kill this guy who's shooting arrows at them, and they need to move in and capture this group. Looks like they're capturing their main chunk of land. Okay, good job. They went ahead, took it over. And Russia wants to go to war, and the United States is quite happy with their conquering. They're ready to go to peace now and call it quits here. But Gopatop of Death, which is a off group from the Martians, wants to go after Uvedid some more, probably because of this colony up here. They're probably a bit scared, and they like to take these guys out. Remember, these are 2 different humanoid races, so one is able to capture, and the other one needs to just completely wipe them out to do anything. And this light blue group looks to be the Martians, so I would imagine they're going to completely wipe out this colony over here. The Jupitians and United States have gone and made an alliance, and that's likely because Russia is posing a major threat now. But Russia is quite spread out as far as the map goes. They have a colony over here, colony over here. They're spread out along these paths that have a lot of extra land, and being spread out in this game can greatly harm you because you can get attacked by multiple angles. That said though, let's speed this up for a little bit until we get to see some more violence. I crave the violence. Russia and the United States looking to declare separate wars. Okay, we have La Plata Union over here being taken over, which looks to be the last thing stopping Russia from taking over the entire Earth. The United States wants to fight Gopatop of Death. This is due to this colony up here. They see them as a threat and want them gone. This also causes them to fight with the Martians in general, and their population is greatly ahead of the Martians. And the Martians, despite getting the first attack off here, that does not mean that they're going to capture this area. They are separate races. We're going to turn this to 5 times. It looks like the Martians are winning this fight for now, but not for long. This is not their major population group, and there should be more reinforcements to come. And that looks like there's more reinforcements. Surprisingly, up to the north and not to the west, but they are going to cause some trouble for these troops trying to take out this little colony over here. They can also come through these little canals, through these areas over here. And look at this army right here. They're all starving to death, but you know, they're making it so far. So they're going to take out their army up north here, and they're going to hit them in the heart of their lands at the same time. And it looks like the Martians do not really have bows developed over here, but the humans have bows developed, especially the people of the United States. And they just want these guys gone. They're not going to make it too much longer. And the Jupitians do not like the Martians either. They want to get rid of them, so they're going to help out on this one. And you can see a couple of Jupitian forces intertwined in there. It's not many, but it's honest work. And they're fighting with sticks, despite being dwarves or Jupitians, and they should be pretty good at gathering resources. They just aren't that strong as far as people go. They've got some iron gear on their king. They just haven't advanced all that much. There hasn't been that many years through this. The Martians are getting wiped out. And remember, this is a war with Gopatop of death. So if these guys get wiped out first, then the Martians are going to have war automatically end against them, and they might get to live. But that's looking unlikely at this point. And the United States war against the Martians and Gopatop of death has ended. But they are definitely the ones that came out on top, and they can colonize forward here if they go quickly and gain some room. There's still some infighting to be done between the humans and the Jupitians and the Martians here though. But really, I want to see the humans go to war, because that would create one united human front. We just have the United States and Russia left as far as things go. So it's pretty consolidated, but not completely. Maybe I'll get my wish. Nope. United States going back to war with the Martians. They do not like those guys. And this is because they wanted to colonize Mars over here, and the Martians were not allowing them to do it. They were not backing off. So they're going to send in a couple hundred troops over here. And the Jupitians are also trying to help out, but you can just look at their army over here, and they're kind of like waddling in circles, which is funny to watch, but they are incompetent. Along with this, Russia is attacking the United States. So it looks like the United States is probably going to completely take out the Martians over here, because they have hundreds of troops over there, but it was all a scheme by the Russians. The Russians sent like a piece of mail off to the United States titled from the Martians and said, "Your mom sucks, lol." And then after they sent in all their troops, they just went and attacked them ferociously. This is also causing them to fight the Jupitians, because the United States and them are allied. And Gopatop of death is still alive over here. They did not have a problem with them. They had a problem with the Martians this time. So I'd imagine the United States will probably take out this colony up here, but this isn't actually one you want to take over because it's entirely surrounded by corruption. Not a good time. So it just causes problems. And then the Jupitians up here look like they're going to get completely wiped out by Russia. And Russia's already taken over the whole Earth. They've taken over this planet over here, and they have a huge amount of population. This might be it. This might be where Russia just wins the whole game. The Jupitians do have this area up top here where they are a little bit guarded by the United States, but versus Russia, how are they supposed to guard them? And I thought the United States would win up here against them in this little colony, but that's not even happening. Even the cursed people in the Northeast are moving in and attacking the United States from behind and absolutely destroying them. Meanwhile, Gopatop of death, or what I will rename to Martians 2, full name being Martians 2 Electric Boogaloo, and they're just sitting over here chilling and growing their colony while there's no war going on for them. Meanwhile, the entire rest of the solar system is at war. Russia is taking over some of the United States land in Mars. The Jupitians only have their last colony up here within the United States. They will be earnestly protected there, but it's going to be quite difficult for them to not die on this one. They only have 30 population left. The United States is backed into a corner. The Jupitians are down to 6 population, and quite frankly, they're probably going to be dead here in just a moment. The Martians have made another colony over here in Mars. They're taking Mars back, but it isn't going to be long for them. The Jupitians' last guy was their king, and he has fallen. The entire race of the Jupitians has fallen. And the United States did eventually take over this colony in the corner over here, and now they're kind of protected by this corruption, as counterintuitive as that may seem, but this is not going to work out for them for long. It seems like everyone within their nation is cursed, and they are up against 2,000 people people as 100. That's it. The United States is gone. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to whisper in Russia's ear, tell them to attack Martians too, and we're going to get this over with. Looks like all the Martians are trying to fight a tiny army group of the Russians, and they even lost to that. They just aren't big enough to really do anything. I mean, most of their colony is literally on the surface of the sun. What are they supposed to do? You expect them to do anything with this? They've been wiped off of Mars, and remember, they can't take over these areas. They just have to completely wipe out the Martians because they are a different humanoid race than them. Okay, and they're wiped off of Mercury, and that's it. Russia has taken over the entire solar system. Now, if you guys liked this video, make certain to subscribe for more. I'm gonna try and post these WorldBox videos. Really want to get it up to daily, but we'll see. It might be once every 2 days for a while.